Linda Hutcheon's work, A Poetics of Postmodernism, published in 1988, explores how postmodernism works in literature, art, and theory. Hutcheon's main idea is that postmodernism is not just about rejecting older traditions, but about mixing them with new ideas. Postmodernism questions ideas like truth, originality, and authority. It does not completely throw away the past, but it reuses and reshapes it. Postmodernism is playful, ironic, and self aware. It knows it is telling stories or making art, and it often reminds us of that fact. Hutcheon says that postmodernism is a kind of complicated rebellion. It challenges serious ideas from the past, such as the belief that history gives us the truth and that art should be original and pure. But at the same time, it still uses those old ideas. Postmodern works might tell stories about history or use styles from older art, but they do attention to how these things are constructed, made by people, not natural or unchangeable. Postmodernism is both critical and creative. It is suspicious of grand ideas and final answers, but enjoys playing with forms, genres, and styles. In the introduction, she explains that postmodernism is not only a theory or a philosophy, but something that appears in many types of cultural products: novels, paintings, architecture, film, and theory itself. She says that can be recognized by its self-reflexivity. This means that postmodern art often points to itself, showing the audience how it was made. It is also known for parody, irony, mixing high and low culture, and for breaking the rules of traditional storytelling. The first chapter, Modeling the Postmodern, explores how postmodernism responds to modernism. While modernism was focused on deep truths, complexity, and the search for meaning, postmodernism reacts by questioning whether such meaning even exists. Yet, postmodernism still respects the seriousness of art. It just does not believe that one truth or one meaning can explain everything. Postmodern art accepts that there are many views, many voices, and many truths. It prefers pluralism, allowing multiple meanings at once rather than choosing only one. The second chapter, Historiographic Metafiction, The Past as Text, is one of the most important. Hutcheon uses the term historiographic metafiction to describe novels that tell historical stories but also remind readers that history itself is a kind of fiction. These novels mix real historical facts with imagined events or characters. They also draw attention to how history is written and how it can never be completely objective. Books Independence Woman by John Fowles or Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie are examples. These stories show that history is a narrative shaped by the writer and not just a collection of facts. This chapter argues that postmodernism does not deny the past but shows that our access to it is always through interpretation and storytelling. The third chapter, The Poetics of Postmodernism, Parody and History, explores how parody works in postmodernism. Parody in this context is not just making fun of something, it is a way of reworking old stories, styles, and forms in a new and meaningful way. Postmodern parody both honors and criticizes the past. Postmodernism can be political because it makes us question what we take for granted. By showing that history, literature, and culture are constructed, postmodernism opens space for voices that have been left out, such as women, minorities, and colonized people. It allows new stories to be told and shows that dominant history is not the only version of the past. In the fourth postmodern toward a poetics, Hutcheon discusses the importance of theory in postmodern art and criticism. She argues that postmodernism is not against theory, but that it makes fun of the idea that any theory can explain everything. Postmodern theory often mixes ideas from different fields like literature, sociology, philosophy, and art and uses them creatively. It avoids strict rules and prefers flexible, open ideas. Postmodern works often use theory in playful and ironic ways, showing how theories are also built from assumptions and not ultimate truths. The fifth chapter discusses power ideology, humanism, and postmodernism, looks at how postmodernism deals with power and ideology. Hutcheon connects her ideas to theorists like Michel Foucault, who believed that knowledge and power are closely linked. In a postmodern view, what we call truth often depends on who has the power to define it. Postmodern art tries to expose these power structures by showing how knowledge is shaped by ideology, systems of belief that people often take for granted. For example, if only white male authors are included in the literary canon that shapes our idea of what literature is, postmodernism questions these choices and asks who is being left out. In the sixth chapter, Text and Context, the intertextuality of postmodern art, she focuses on how postmodern works refer to other texts. Intertextuality means that a text is always connected to other texts through style, quotation, or theme. Postmodern writers and artists make these connections very obvious. Refer to another novel, a painting may quote another painting, a movie may include scenes from other films. This constant referencing shows that meaning is never simple or original. It always comes from a web of other meanings. This makes postmodern art rich and layered, but also sometimes hard to interpret. The final chapter, Conclusion, Complicity, and Critique, returns to the idea that postmodernism is both critical of and complicit in the culture it reflects. This means postmodernism is part of the very system it criticizes. A novel may make fun of consumer culture, but it is still a product sold in the marketplace. This creates a tension that postmodernism does not try to solve. Instead, it embraces the contradiction. Postmodern art is aware that it cannot stand outside culture, but it still finds creative ways to question it from within. It is this double position, being both inside and outside, that defines the postmodern approach. Hutcheon's book is not just a study of literature. It also looks at how postmodernism, architecture, music, and visual art. She shows that postmodernism is not a single style but a way of thinking, a way of seeing that challenges the idea of one truth, one meaning, or one right way to tell a story. Postmodernism plays with form and meaning, blends fiction and fact, mixes the serious with the playful, and opens space for